Thanks for your company. Children are a gift from God, but what happens when that gift becomes a burden? That's the story of 37-year-old Janet Mensah. She delivered her 4 beautiful babies through cesarean section, and she's unemployed and has no means of caring for them. She's calling on benevolent individuals to come to her aid. There's more in the following report. Quadruplets, 2 boys and 2 girls. The boys weighing 1.4 kilos and the girls 1.7. They were born at 34 weeks to 37-year-old Janet Mensah. 2 of them were unwell, but have since been discharged from hospital after thorough examination. Janet tells me the scan could not tell the number of babies she was carrying, but she was told to expect either 3 or 4. For many, having quadruplets is a blessing, but not for this mother. The thought of the number of children broke her down. She had to stop selling because the weight was becoming too much for her to carry.
Because
I had complications at the early stages of my pregnancy. I didn't know I was carrying quadruplet.
Because of wait for my to maybe until doctor had me to hospital almost 3 months.
The thought of that made me sad. I was always weak and vomiting. The weight was too much, so I was detained for 3 months.
So where didn't your hospital bills?
Hospital bill there,
I had to borrow money from my brother to pay for the hospital bills.
When the babies finally arrived, she and her husband, who is a mason, are yet to come to terms with having 4 babies, as they already have 2 children. Janet is appealing to Ghanaians to assist her take care of them.
I didn't know
They are my children and also Ghanaians. I am appealing to all Ghanaians, especially our president, to come to my aid.
Because it's
I have no money to care for them. I had to borrow 60 Ghana cedis for lab tests. I need help in any form to cater for the babies. Please help me.
Giving birth to quadruplets can be exciting, but not having the means to care for them is a problem. Patricia Gasu's report for Joy News. Now, many young girls migrate annually from the 3 northern regions down south to seek greener pastures. They often end up in Accra, where they believe they can find good jobs to enable them achieve their dreams. Unfortunately, majority of these young girls end up disappointed. The story is, however, different for Teni Agana, who migrated hoping to become a graduate. Guess what? She started out as a head porter and over the weekend was among hundreds of students who graduated from the Ashesi University. Here's Teni sharing her story on Joy FM Super Morning Show.
These guys, when they sleep there, they make the place dirty and things. So sometimes you'll be sleeping at night and they will come to check on their store. They will sack you. So you have to be always looking for a place to sleep. It was very hard. And I remember when I was working as a KA. When I go there, I was not the only one. So the girls, I go with other girls. Let's say if you are 6 people that went there,
yeah.
In order for us to be safe, some of us would tie our legs together so that if you're a guy in the market who wants to rape one of us, by the time you come and you are looking, you get one of my leg. By the time you look for the other leg, one of us would have been up by now. Or sometimes because we are students, 2 people steady and the other 4 will be sleeping. When you are about to sleep, you tap the other 2 to wake up and learn, and you sleep. So that's like taking care of each other. But
so you were learning whilst you were in the...
Yes, because I have to go to school. And Right.
So how were you eating? You said you were making 15 cedis a day, 10 to 15 cedis a day, but you had to save like 8 cedis a day.
Yes.
So you were living on 7 cedis.
So so you came all the way from the north to work. So that's where the problem is. Then you starve yourself so that you save in order to pay for it. And some of us, when you are sick, you don't go to the hospital. You go. So what we do is we buy those drugs in the markets, and some of them is a problem because some of them are expired drugs and other things. You see, in the market we have some men holding
bags and they go around selling drugs. This morning's interview, I felt like I was listening to the scene of a movie, and hearing this story again this morning just humbles me. So
Teni also explains her motivation for wanting to pursue higher education and life at Ashesi University.
I went to Comfort and I met this amazing woman. She's called Auntie Sally. She was so excited to meet me. She wanted me to get everything that I wanted. So I applied to a lot of schools and she was so excited and she wanted me. She worked in Ashesi before, so she wanted me to be in Ashesi. So I went there. I went to Ashesi. She helped me apply. So I went to Ashesi, and when I went to Ashesi, it was so, the campus was so nice. I couldn't believe, I'm here. I was there, sorry. So, so I went for my interview, and when I went for the interview, they were so excited that, I came there, and they offered me a MasterCard scholarship. And
Great.
For MasterCard scholarship, we get, every year, 60 students come to Ashesi as MasterCard scholarship, and it's a full scholarship. So they pay your school fees, feeding, transportation, stipend, everything, everything.
Wow.
So I had a MasterCard scholarship in Ashesi for 4 years, and I was so excited. Yeah. In Ashesi, I could have given up because, this is not where I come from. But there are a lot of people or resources. There are a lot of people available who are willing to help you. Okay. And who are interested in you. So it's I don't know. It's on you to make it. It's for you to make it.
But even before that,
I told you there were 3 things that kept me moving. One is to change the story of my family. 2 is the fact that my mother was hurt because she was helping me. Yeah. And 3 is the fact that I don't want my sister to move from the north to the south. And when it's in the night, she'll be sleeping outside, and when it's rain, she has to use the basin to stand in the rain and use the basin to cover her head, and her body will be wet. And I don't want her to be. That's what I'm doing. I did, and I don't want her to go through the same situation I went.
Now, that's a good point to bring you our survivor story for the week. We bring you the classic tale of a mother of 4 who survives on a 250 Ghana cedi monthly salary working as a nanny. Joyce Toji has had to cater for the needs of herself and her 4 children after her husband died some years ago. Charity Emihil Battils has been following the story of Joyce and her 4 children and has filed this report.
I sang a lullaby by the waterside. My name is Sam. I don't love Farsi. If you pass me, I'm from Ghana.
This is how her day begins here at the Pink and Blues International School. Auntie Joyce cares for babies at this daycare where she's paid only 250 cedis a month for her work. She cleans, bathes, feeds these babies and leaves only after the last child has been picked up from the school. And there are about 20 babies in this class.
And I feel so. I want to send on my juice. Let me change your mom. And
juice, and my change pampers, and my shaman for food. And I'm assuming 2 new mom, and no more, a 2 new, and no more cacan, ABC, and 1, 2, 3.
Auntie Joyce tells me the inability of most of the children to speak when they soil themselves makes it difficult to identify which child needs attention, forcing her to check the over 20 children at a time.
Because baby, I'm going to so mobile say a bebo 10, baby, I got toilet. The same changing moment na means and from fufu show.
Auntie Joyce lives in this house with all 4 children. And all these children depend mostly on the food she brings from the school every day. Joyce managed to bring some rice and a small piece of meat from school today, and dinner is served. Joyce has to eat banku because the rice isn't enough for all of them. Around this time of the month, Joyce has spent all her money. She has no cash left to buy fish and pepper for stew. Dinah is the first of the 4 children, and she tells me she was unable to further her education.
Yeah, you say you will me buy because a brand new is a dose on the door. I told you cry. Didi, Mayada. I just say, yeah, small girl on the pay, your last one, no penna, yeah, to me, struggle, I am managing because only you need me.
Send me Kojuma, meeting at Tomoko. One city, no manage for 2 days. Don't toast 2 city, you manage for 2 days. Until the end of the day, no, every month, no. That is asking, that is a son, that is a master.
Harriet is a third of the 4 children, and she had dreams of becoming a policewoman.
Because it's not an first open clinic. For the meantime, Tiname Buane in Bibi Kakra say Juman Libina Pisa.
Joyce doesn't have to pay rent because the house she lives in is owned by her family. It's perhaps the only reason why Joyce and her children have a decent place to live. Aram is the last of the 4 children. Her siblings fear that she might not be able to fulfill her life ambitions because of poverty. Joyce is like any other person who works. A little pay rise can make a world of difference in our lives. But Joyce doesn't work just for the money. She's moved by the smiles she sees in the faces of these babies every day as she cares for them. And that is her source of joy.
So it's a pain, so many
life is indeed hard, but Joyce is strong. Each day presents a battle for survival for her and the 4 beautiful girls who depend on her. Maybe someday when things improve, she can truly lift her head and smile at life. Joyce and the girls are survivors. For Joy News, Charity Emihil Batel's report, Kotobabi, Accra.
From America.
Now, fresh allegations of contempt of Parliament will be raised against Asin Central MP Teni Agana when the Privileges Committee of Parliament meets this afternoon. The committee is investigating allegations the MP called Parliament useless. Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak, who made the allegations, is expected before the committee this afternoon to make his case. Joy News gathers he will make fresh allegations of contempt against Mr. Agyapong for calling him dumb and demand that the committee investigates that too. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us live. He's standing by with the Vice Chairman of the Privileges Committee. Joseph, when is the sitting expected to start?
So now officially we've gotten the confirmation that instead of 12 o'clock, the sitting will begin at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Let me get on quickly with the conversation with the Vice Chairman of the committee, the Member of Parliament for Second D, the Honourable Andrew Kofi Mensah. He's also the Vice Chairman of the Privileges Committee. What can we expect when the sitting of the Privileges Committee begins eventually at 2 p.m.? Are all the star witnesses appearing? Will they all be allowed to provide evidence beyond the oral?
Star witnesses. Well, there's been an allegation based on which a motion was moved on the floor of Parliament. And the Right Honourable Speaker referred the matter to the Privileges Committee of Parliament appropriately to investigate and submit a report to the Speaker for consideration. So that's exactly what we're about to do. The person who made the allegation is expected to appear before the committee and proffer evidence to back the allegation that he made. Following from that, and in the interest of natural justice, we would give an opportunity for the person against whom the accusations have been made to respond. And then when we evaluate the allegation and the response that had been issued, we'll go ahead and do our recommendation for the Speaker and by extension the entire parliamentary body to take a determination of what it is that we recommend.
Will all of that be happening today? Will Teni Agana appear today? Will Muntaka Mubarak appear today?
Well, my expectation is that invitations would have gone to the principal persons involved. In this case, the person who made the allegation and the person against whom the allegation was made, Honourable Muntaka and Honourable Teni Agana respectively, for them to appear. I wouldn't know the nature of the proceedings, how it's going to go. Whether the evidence will be such that we can take both of them today or that we may have to commence with one today and subsequently deal with the other. But when the meeting starts, I guess that we'll all see how it turns out and excuse me, how the processes turn out and how the proceedings are going to take shape going forward.
Teni Agana has given the indication he's yet to get an official invitation for this particular sitting. What will happen if he doesn't show up? Would any sanctions apply?
Well, if the invitation has not reached him, I know he traveled, but he's back. And I expect the Secretariat to have issued him with invitations to attend. But be that as it may, I mean, we'll go ahead and take the evidence of Muntaka Mubarak. And then if Mr. Agyapong is available to meet with us today, by all means. Otherwise, we'll necessarily have to give him an opportunity, unless, of course, he declines to meet the committee. Then we can go ahead and do our recommendations without his input. But I expect that, being a respected member of this House, he's been here for at least 3 terms. He knows the rules that govern all of us. We've all sworn an oath to abide by the rules, and I expect him to appear before the committee to answer the charges that have been made against him.
We've gathered that the Minority Chief Whip may introduce a second allegation that Teni Agana, in a separate interview, later called him dumb, and he thinks that's also to a certain extent contemptuous, and he wants the committee to deal with that as well. Will the committee be able to deal with other matters beyond specifically how the Speaker referred to you?
Well, he would have to come and give his evidence. I cannot preempt what he's going to say or the evidence that he's going to adduce before the committee. Whatever evidence that he puts before us would have to subject it to the appropriate tests. The ones that are admissible will be admitted, and those that are not admissible will be thrown out and then a recommendation done.
My last question, what's the worst thing that could happen? Kennedy Agyapong being expelled from Parliament possibly if he's found guilty?
I'm not in a position to make that determination at this point. I mean, I have not seen any evidence. Just like you heard some speculations in the media, I haven't paid attention because of my peculiar role as vice chairman of the committee. I've tried as much as possible to remain neutral in this matter, and we'll take the evidence and take a decision going forward.
But the committee has the power to do that, don't you?
Well, the rules say so, and so if that is what the recommendation of the committee, and bear in mind, I'm only a member of the committee, even though I'm the vice chair, I do not have any more powers than anybody else on the committee. It will be a collective decision that the committee will take relative to the evidence that is adduced before us and what it is that we think ought to go to the plenary.
We'll see how things unfold eventually when the sitting begins at 2 p.m.
Yes, sure. We'll see how things unfold.
Many thanks for speaking to us. Andrew Kofi Mensah is the Member of Parliament for the Sekondi constituency. He is Vice Chairman of the Privileges Committee of Parliament. I've seen Muntaka Mubarak in the chamber, and he's indicated that he's all set for the proceedings, and it's set to begin at 2 p.m. And as we gather, it will be a public sitting.
Joseph, and now we understand the aviation minister has appeared before the House and says domestic airline fare has been dropping over the last 1 year. What more has she been telling the House?
She's been explaining to MPs that since we saw a situation of the government's decision to remove 25% taxes when it comes to the operations of domestic airlines sometime last year, late last year, there's been a constant reduction when it comes to the prices of domestic air transport fare, and it's been gradual. She gave the figures to indicate that for airlines like African World and even for Starbow, which is defunct now, prices reduced something in the region of 20% when it comes to air transportation from Accra to Kumasi and Accra to Tamale. And she says that they are expecting further reduction in that soon because they are expecting more domestic airlines to come in sometime soon. She mentioned the Baby Jet airline as one of the airlines that's supposed to come in sometime soon, and indicated that they are engaging Starbow for them to also resume operations. And she expects that even beyond the reduction that we've seen, once 2 additional domestic airlines add on to African World to make it 3, domestic air transport fares will go down further. She's been assuring MPs of that, so that then they hope this will go forward to help boost the aviation industry locally and boost business across the country generally as well.
Thanks for the details, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo there in Parliament. Well, I spoke to Kennedy Agyapong, member for Assin Central, earlier on allegations he insulted Osei Chairman Sabonsu, the majority leader.
I think they've invited Honorable Muntaka to come with evidence that I insulted Parliament. But the media made a mistake and lumped us together. But if they invite me, I'll show you, I'll go. Because I never insulted Parliament. I was responding. You see, Muntaka made a mistake. I was responding to one MPP vice chairman in Ashanti. Of course, he has apologized, so I'm only repeating, not that I'm going back to the issue. So the vice chairman went on air, Fox, Happy, and all those to say that if I am saying that Anas is a blackmailer and extortionist, then I don't deserve to be called an MP. And if I can't live with Anas, I should move to Togo. Then, he will never call me honorable. So then, of course, my leader, he didn't insult me, but it's like what he was referring to was undermining what I was doing because I have evidence and he doesn't. So I think the proper thing for my leader to have done was to call me. But this radio station will call me, your leader is saying, I said, well, he doesn't know what I know. So when I went on my station, it came up again. I said, look, if he says he's not going to call me honorable doesn't give me money. 11,000 cedis is my salary. And my chop money is more than that. So what? But if you guys believe in Anas, that he's the truthful person, why is it that he did an investigation against judiciary and he brought it and he didn't bring the parliament? He should bring the parliament one too. pose the question, is legislature better than the judiciary or what? So why should he bring the judiciary and leave Parliament?
No Parliament, you have evidence?
That's what he has been saying. That's what he has been bragging everywhere that Parliament were begging him. But we wanted him to bring it out. Okay? So I said to my leader that, look, I respect you. I respect my leader. But of late, the way he goes out criticizing me, next time, if he continues like that, I'll deal with him pepe. That's what I said. See, I didn't say Parliament IF. Okay. Me say IF. IF means nasty. And yet, me say IF.
Oh, IF cheap?
Yes.
Okay.
If Parliament is not cheap, no, the guy could not even go on air to insult me the way he insulted, and rather Parliament accuse me when I am responding.
All right. So, Mr. Kennedy Agyapong, Minority Chief Whip Mutaka Mubarak will be presenting his evidence. Earlier, you said that you didn't do anything wrong. Do you still stand by that?
Yeah, I have never insulted Parliament. I didn't insult Parliament. That's why I call him dumb. He consumes information and he doesn't digest.
So prior to this, what was your relationship with?
He's not my friend. But during the vetting, he called me and asked me to tell Esla something. I called Esla and said, this is what the guys are saying. I'm surprised. The Esla answer was fantastic. I said, how? I'm a lawyer. I qualified to be a minister. No, I'm not going to do it.
Are you suggesting that they were asking her to pay anything?
I don't. Well, when he challenges me, then he will see.
Away from that, Dr. Owusu Efriye Akoto, Minister of Food and Agriculture, has outlined some plans to ensure farmers become more comfortable working in the country. He says there will soon be a permanent change in the agricultural sector to support poor farmers and provide them with what they need for their work. Efwa Evans Chinwe is at the press briefing and joins us via phone with details. Now, what are the ministry's plans for 2018, Efwa?
Hi, Bennett. Dr. Owusu has been outlining plans his ministry has put in place to ensure that farmers, most of whom have been tagged as poor, become more comfortable working in the country. Now, he says that most of the 745,000 jobs which have been created under the Planting for Food and Jobs program are unofficial jobs and not subject to taxation, as many of the critics have said. He also mentioned that although they are faced with a lot of constraints, they are doing everything to ensure that these challenges are dealt with. Now, let me also say this. He stressed on the fact that each farmer is required to have 2 helping hands for every sector of land cultivated, adding that those engaged will help the farmers throughout the year. Now, going forward, Dr. Owusu says his ministry is collaborating with the Roads and Transport Ministry and the Education Ministry to ensure that storage facilities are available to store crops, and transportation services are made available and easier so they can feed some of the students in senior high schools. Now, let me also add this, which is worth noting. Resources, according to the minister, that went into Planting for Food and Jobs was financed by the government of Ghana. Now, he spoke broadly about the plans without giving a specific permanent solution, but he says he will do everything to ensure that that farmers are giving all that they need, as in the tools that they need to ensure that they are comfortable working in the country.
For Evans Chinwe, they're giving us some details of what the minister has been saying at a press briefing. Let's stay with agriculture. The new Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD, says it is designing a 10-year strategy on nutrition for African countries. Chief Executive Officer of NEPAD, Dr. Ibrahim Asani Mayaki, says this is crucial in tackling the overwhelming cases of malnutrition on the continent.
In Malabo in 2014, when the second phase of CADEP was designed, we called Malabo a food and nutrition security strategy, which shows the fact that nutrition came as a priority, and we were at the forefront of the design of Malabo. So currently we are designing a 10-year strategy regarding nutrition, but will be implemented in all the countries where we have cadre programs. And we have about 47 countries now where you have national agricultural investment plans, and the dimension of nutrition is going to be enhanced in all these plans. You know the challenges that Africa is facing in terms of food security. Given our demographic growth rates today, we need to feed in an accelerated way much more people than we were feeding at the beginning of the 60s. And in the next 20 to 30 years, Africa's population will double, and 30% of the birth that will occur in the world by 2030 will occur in Africa. So it's that demographic transition challenge is very important, and it needs specific policies if we want to reduce stunting, malnutrition, etc. So this is why whatever we do in transforming our food systems need to be nutrition sensitive.
Away from agriculture, it is usual to see past and present students of participating schools at the National Science and Maths Quiz cheering their schools on. However, it's worth noting that some junior high school students have sat throughout this year's competition. Nancy Emefadradosi caught up with some junior high school students who are optimistic they will be representing their schools of choice at the senior high school level at the National Science and Maths Quiz stage in a few years to come.
As you are also trying to get familiar with the National Science and Math Quiz, or you've been doing that over the years?
I've been watching on television over the past years, but this is my first time of watching it live here.
Okay. What about the National Science and Math Quiz is of interest to you?
It's very interesting. I love the exposure, and besides, you might see me on the podium in the future.
That's what you also want to do, because he says he wants to do it. Okay, so let me just find out from you. You've been sitting throughout this contest, and it hasn't been boring?
No, not at all. Even aside the fact that, of course, some of the questions are above my head, yes, but a few I'm able to do, they are very good. Very good.
You're able to work out some of the questions?
Yes, of course.
Like which ones? Which of the, is it the mathematics, the chemistry, the physics? Which of the aspects?
Mostly biology and chemistry, because they are mostly written, yes. So I can deduce and find solutions to some of the questions asked to the candidates.
How do you feel when a question is asked and you try to figure out the answer in your head and it's actually correct?
Yeah, feel great, yeah. At least some way, yes.
Great. All right, I'll come back to you again. I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I'm already loving it. I asked them why National Science and Math Quiz. You too, why? Why national? Why are you not doing anything related to, okay, let me go and do business. You know, there's a program actually for business students also, like the National Science and Math Quiz. It's called Business Executives or something. Why not interested in that and the National Science and Math Quiz?
I actually like science and maths a lot. I'm actually good in those two subjects, and also because of the exposure you get more in the field, and also because of the mentorship sections, they give you more ideas about science and also motivate us. So that's why I like coming here than the other competitions.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was growing up, maths was not really, my thing, but you seem to love mathematics and science, right? What was your position last year in class before you even wrote your WASI?
You mean in the mocks or?
In the mocks.
Out of 251 students, I was 54th.
Okay. That's encouraging. What are your parents? Have you told them about your plans to one day sitting for a school? And by the way, which school do you intend furthering your education in?
Infantipim.
Why Infantipim?
Because it's a school I actually wanted to go to since I was a kid. And also the students, they're actually serious, and the teachers teach very well, so which makes the students perform well. Yeah.
You already teach in that school?
No, my dad teaches in Ghana National College.
Okay, but why? Because I'm still wondering why you decided to also choose a fancy him when you can probably just go to your daddy's school.
I've been sitting there all the time. I know my way around the whole place, and being at one place is somehow boring.
So you want to move out to a different environment?
Yes.
Okay. Let me also...
The 2018 National Science and Maths Quiz is also brought to you by Easeway Savings and Loans, Easeway Fast and Reliable, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, stationery and furniture. Key Brilliant Soap, brightness with every stroke. Hens World Ghana Limited, Newmont Ghana Gold Limited, and Papa's Pizza. Taste it, love it. You're watching Joy News Today. Business News is next.